Stop scrolling. This message may be the answer to the prayer you prayed in secret. God says, before this week ends, something hidden will be revealed. Someone watching this has been carrying a burden for years. You smile around people, but deep down you're exhausted. You have asked, God, why is my life not changing? Today, God wants you to understand something that most people never discover. And once you understand it, everything begins to change. My beloved child, I see you. I see the quiet moments in the kitchen when the house is still, and you are staring at bills you aren't sure how to pay. I see the tears you wipe away quickly before your children or your spouse walk into the room. I know how heavy your heart feels when you lie in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if the promises I made to you will ever come to pass. You have felt forgotten. You have felt like you are running on an endless treadmill, giving your all, only to end up exactly where you started. But I have not forgotten you. The enemy has whispered a lie into your ear for a very long time, and today, I am going to expose that lie. It is the very thing that has been blocking the reservoir of blessings I have prepared for you. You have been told that your current struggle is a punishment, or that you simply do not have enough faith, or that your past mistakes have disqualified you from my grace. They lied to you about this. And it is holding back your blessing. As you watch this today, I want you to clear your mind of the noise of the world. Do not think about the clock, do not think about your to-do list, and do not let the distractions of this life pull you away. This 90-minute encounter is a divine appointment. I have guided your hand to click on this video because your breakthrough requires your attention. Listen closely to the story I am about to tell you. It is the story of a man named David, an ordinary American living in a town just like yours. His story is your story. His pain is your pain. And his breakthrough is about to become your breakthrough. But what happened next shocked David, and it will shock you too. Chapter 1, The Comfortable Lie. David lived in a quiet, tree-lined suburb in Ohio. To anyone driving past his house, he looked like he had achieved the classic American dream. He had a beautiful wife named Sarah, 2 bright children, a steady job as a mid-level manager at a logistics firm, and a silver SUV parked in the driveway. He went to church on Sundays, nodded during the sermons, dropped a $20 bill into the offering plate, and exchanged polite pleasantries in the lobby. But behind the manicured lawn and the neat brick facade, David was living a lie. It wasn't a malicious lie, it was a comfortable one. It was the same lie that society had whispered to him since he was a young boy: if you just work a little harder, if you earn a little more, if you keep up appearances, you will find peace. David bought into this completely. He measured his worth by the title on his business card and the balance in his checking account. When he felt an inner emptiness, a persistent, quiet ache that whispered that there had to be more to life than this, he simply worked longer hours. He told himself that once he got the next promotion, once the mortgage was paid down, once the kids were in college, then he would focus on his spirit. Then he would truly seek me. He had no idea I was already working behind the scenes, preparing to dismantle the idols he didn't even realize he was worshipping. Every morning, David would wake up at 5:00 a.m., swallow a cup of black coffee, and stare at his reflection in the bathroom mirror. He looked tired. The lines around his eyes were deepening, not from laughter, but from stress. He would check his phone, looking at notifications, stock prices, and emails, hoping to find validation in the digital world. He thought that if people needed him, it meant he mattered. "You're doing great, honey," Sarah would say as he kissed her goodbye on his way out the door. But her voice lacked warmth. It was a routine phrase spoken out of habit. Their marriage had slowly transformed into a business partnership. They discussed schedules, grocery lists, and utility bills, but they no longer shared their hearts. They hadn't connected deeply in years. David told himself this was just what happened when you grew older. This was just adult life. This is where most people give up. They accept a lukewarm life, a lukewarm marriage, and a lukewarm faith, believing that this is all there is. They settle for the counterfeit peace that the world offers, unaware that true peace cannot be bought or earned. David believed that as long as he kept the plates spinning, he was safe. He thought his financial stability was his fortress. He trusted in his own strength, his own intellect, and his own ability to solve problems. When small crises arose, a broken water heater, a minor dip in the stock market, a brief argument with a coworker, he handled them with a sense of self-reliance. He would pray, but his prayers were like insurance policies. Lord, bless my plans, protect my investments, and keep everything running smoothly. He wasn't asking for my will, he was asking me to sign off on his will. How many of you watching this right now are doing the same thing? You are asking me to bless a life that you built without me. You are trying to protect a comfort zone that is actually keeping you from your destiny. You think that because things are stable, they are holy. But I do not call you to comfort, I call you to purpose. David's life was about to be shaken, not because I hated him, but because I loved him too much to let him die in his comfort. The foundations he had built upon were made of sand, and a storm was gathering on the horizon. He thought he was building a kingdom, but he was actually building a cage. And the keys to that cage were about to be handed to him in a way he never expected. Chapter 2, The Collapse. It happened on a rainy Tuesday in October. The sky was the color of wet slate, and the wind was stripping the last of the red and gold leaves from the trees. David sat at his desk, reviewing a spreadsheet, when his computer screen blinked. An email invitation from the Human Resources Department popped up, mandatory company realignment meeting. 2 p.m. Main conference room. David didn't think much of it. Reorganizations happened all the time. He was a senior manager, he was essential to the operation. He grabbed his notepad and walked down the hall, offering a casual wave to his secretary. When he entered the room, the air felt different. It was cold, heavy, and thick with an unspoken dread. The vice president of the company was sitting at the head of the table, flanked by 2 corporate lawyers David had never seen before. There were 5 other managers in the room, all of them staring at the floor. The meeting lasted less than 10 minutes. Due to shifting market conditions and corporate restructuring, your positions have been eliminated, effective immediately. The words hit David like a physical blow. The room seemed to spin. He heard the vice president talking about severance packages, career transition services, and non-disclosure agreements, but the sound was muffled, as if he were underwater. His mind raced to his mortgage, his daughter's tuition, the car payments, the health insurance. In a matter of moments, his identity was stripped away. The title he had spent 15 years building was gone. He walked out of the building carrying a cardboard box filled with his personal belongings, a framed family photo, a personalized coffee mug, a few pens, and a plaque honoring his 10 years of dedicated service. As he walked through the parking lot in the pouring rain, the box became soggy, and the bottom tore open. His belongings spilled onto the wet asphalt. He dropped to his knees, trying to gather his things, his tears mixing with the rainwater. This moment changed everything. But the collapse was only beginning. When David arrived home and broke the news to Sarah, the reaction wasn't what he expected. He hoped for comfort, for an embrace, for words of reassurance. Instead, he met a wall of panic and resentment. How could this happen? Sarah cried, her voice sharp with fear. What are we going to do about the bills? David, we can't afford to lose this income. You were supposed to handle this. The cracks in their marriage, which had been hidden beneath the veneer of daily routines, suddenly opened into wide chasms. Without the distraction of work and the security of a steady paycheck, they were forced to look at each other, and they realized they were strangers. The argument started that very night. They argued about money, about the future, about past mistakes, about things that had happened a decade ago. The house, once a haven of quiet comfort, became a battlefield. Within 3 months, David's savings were depleted. He applied for dozens of jobs, but the market was flooded with younger, cheaper talent. He was told he was overqualified, a polite corporate euphemism for being too old and too expensive. Every rejection email felt like a hammer blow to his soul. Then came the medical emergency. His son, Leo, fell ill with an acute appendicitis that required emergency surgery. Because David had lost his corporate health insurance and the COBRA premiums were too high to maintain, the hospital bill was astronomical. The medical debt stacked on top of the mortgage arrears, creating a mountain of financial pressure that felt impossible to climb. One evening, after another bitter argument about money, Sarah packed a suitcase, took the children, and went to stay with her sister in another state. She told David she needed space, that she couldn't live under the weight of this constant anxiety anymore. David stood in the middle of his empty living room. The silence was deafening. The furniture looked hollow. The house was cold because he had turned the thermostat down to save on the heating bill. He was 52 years old, unemployed, deeply in debt, separated from his family, and completely alone. The answer was closer than he imagined, but to David, it felt like the end of the world. He looked at his hands, the hands that had once signed contracts and managed teams, and they were shaking. He felt like a ghost walking through his own life. Everything he had trusted in had failed him. His bank account was empty, his family was gone, his career was dead, and his dignity was shattered. Chapter 3, The Question. That night, David hit the absolute rock bottom of his existence. He sat on the floor of the dark kitchen, his back against the refrigerator, a single bottle of water beside him. The house was so quiet he could hear the ticking of the clock in the hallway, each tick sounding like a countdown to his destruction. He pulled his knees to his chest and began to sob. It wasn't a gentle cry, it was a guttural, agonizing groan that came from the deepest recesses of his being. It was the sound of a man who had reached the end of himself. "God, where are you?" He cried out into the darkness. "Where are you? I did everything right. I went to church, I paid my tithes, I took care of my family, I worked hard. Why have you abandoned me? What did I do to deserve this?" The darkness did not answer. The ticking clock kept ticking. David felt a profound sense of betrayal. He had believed the lie that if he was a good person, God was obligated to keep his life free from pain. He thought that faith was a transaction. He gave God his Sunday mornings, and God gave him prosperity and protection. Now that the contract seemed broken, David felt an overwhelming anger welling up inside him. "Are you even real?" he whispered, his voice cracking. "Because if you are real, how could you let me lose everything? Do you see me down here? Do you even care?" This is the question that so many of you watching this video have asked. You have stood in the ruins of your own lives. Perhaps after a divorce, a diagnosis, a bankruptcy, or the loss of a loved one, and you have looked up at the sky and asked, "Where are you, God?" You have felt the crushing weight of my silence, and you have concluded that my silence means my absence. But what David didn't know, and what you must understand, is that my silence is often the womb of your transformation. I am never closer to you than when your heart is broken. David pulled himself up from the kitchen floor and walked to the living room window. He looked out at the street. The neighbor's house had its lights on, a warm, golden glow spilling onto the lawn. He could see the silhouettes of a family moving inside, laughing, eating dinner together. The sight filled him with a bitter envy. Why them and not him? What made them so special? He turned away from the window, unable to bear the sight of someone else's happiness. He walked down the hallway to his small study, a room where he used to manage his investments and plan his career. On the shelf sat an old, leather-bound Bible that his grandmother had given him when he was baptized. It was covered in a thin layer of dust. He picked it up, his hands trembling. He opened it at random, hoping for a magic word, a sudden sign, a cosmic reassurance that everything would be okay. His eyes landed on the book of Job, on the verses where Job laments his birth and questions the justice of the Almighty. David closed the book with a heavy thud. He didn't want ancient words. He wanted practical answers. He wanted his job back, his wife back, his money back. He wanted his old life back. He had no idea that his old life was the very thing that was destroying his soul. He lay down on the sofa, pulling a threadbare blanket over his shoulders. He did not sleep. He drifted in a state of exhaustion and despair, waking every hour with a jolt of adrenaline as the reality of his situation crashed over him anew. Every morning brought a fresh wave of panic. The sunrise, which used to represent a new day of opportunity, now felt like a spotlight exposing his failure. He began to withdraw from the world entirely. He stopped answering his phone. When his friends from church called or texted, he ignored them. He was too ashamed to tell them that he was going to the local food pantry to get groceries. He was too proud to admit that he couldn't afford to put gas in his car. He felt entirely isolated, trapped in a prison of his own shame. He believed the ultimate lie, that his story was over, that he had failed too deeply, and that he would never recover. But I was not finished with David. In fact, I was just getting started. Chapter 4, The Stranger's Advice. On a freezing Thursday morning in January, David was forced to walk to a small, run-down laundromat 3 blocks from his house. His washing machine had broken down weeks ago, and he had finally run out of clean clothes. He carried his laundry in a black trash bag, his head down, his collar turned up against the biting wind. The laundromat was empty except for an elderly man sitting in a plastic chair in the corner, reading a worn paperback book. The place smelled of cheap detergent, damp wool, and old floor wax. The fluorescent lights overhead hummed a low, irritating tune. David stuffed his clothes into a machine, dropped his last few quarters into the slot, and sat down 3 rows away from the old man, desperately avoiding eye contact. He wanted to be invisible. The old man, however, had other plans. He closed his book, stood up, and walked over to David. He was wearing a faded denim jacket, and his face was lined with deep wrinkles, but his eyes were a piercing, vibrant blue that seemed to hold an unnatural warmth. "Cold morning out there, isn't it?" the old man said, his voice deep and gentle. David gave a tight, polite nod. "Yeah. It is." The man didn't take the hint to leave. Instead, he sat down in the chair right next to David. "You look like a man carrying the weight of the whole world on his shoulders, friend. Mind if I ask what's troubling you?" David felt a sudden surge of irritation. He didn't want a stranger invading his privacy. He didn't want pity. "Just having a rough time," David said shortly, looking away. "Like everybody else." The old man smiled softly. "There's a difference between a rough time and a broken heart. You look like your foundations have been shaken." David snapped. The pressure inside him had to go somewhere. "You want to know what's wrong? I lost my job of 15 years. My wife left with my kids. I'm thousands of dollars in debt. I'm about to lose my house. And I've been praying to a God who doesn't seem to care whether I live or die. Is that enough for you?" He expected the old man to be shocked, to apologize, and back away. Instead, the man's expression remained perfectly calm, filled with a deep, sorrowful empathy. "Ah," the old man said quietly. "So they lied to you about him too?" David frowned, his anger momentarily replaced by confusion. "What are you talking about?" "They told you that God is a cosmic vending machine," the old man said, leaning forward, resting his gnarled hands on his knees. "They told you that if you put in your good deeds and your church attendance, He's supposed to give you a smooth ride and a big bank account. They told you that suffering means He's angry with you, and prosperity means He's pleased with you." David stared at him. Those were the exact thoughts he had been wrestling with in the dark. "Let me tell you something, David," the stranger said, using David's name even though David had never introduced himself. David was too stunned to interrupt. "The enemy wants you to believe that your current wilderness is a graveyard. He wants you to think that because everything is falling apart, your life is over. But the truth is, This isn't a graveyard. It's a greenhouse. A greenhouse? David scoffed. It feels like hell. A greenhouse is hot, uncomfortable, and confined, the old man replied. But it's the only place where certain seeds can grow. God didn't cause your company to lay you off, and He didn't cause your marriage to fracture. We live in a broken world full of free-willed people. But God is absolutely using this storm to break the things in you that would have eventually destroyed you. He's stripping away your crutches because He wants you to learn how to fly. The stranger stood up, walked over to his own dryer, and pulled out a single, neatly folded blanket. He turned back to David. Before the blessing can come, the vessel must be emptied, the old man said. You've been filled with your own strength, your own pride, and your own plans. Now you are empty. Don't fight the emptiness, David. Let Him fill it. Go home, stop asking Him why, and start asking Him what. What do you want me to learn? What do you want me to change? The old man walked out of the laundromat into the freezing air, the bell above the door chiming behind him. David sat frozen in his chair. He looked down at his hands, then out the window. The old man was gone, disappearing into the gray morning mist as if he had never been there at all. But what happened next shocked David. For the first time in months, the heavy, suffocating anxiety in his chest felt just a fraction lighter. A tiny spark of curiosity, a flicker of hope, had been ignited in his soul. Chapter 5, The Hidden Lesson. David walked back to his empty house, the stranger's words echoing in his mind like a persistent melody, stop asking why, and start asking what. He sat down at his dining room table. The house was still cold, the silence was still deep, but something inside David had shifted. He pulled out a yellow legal pad and a pen. He drew a line down the middle of the paper. On the left side, he wrote, "What I have lost." On the right side, he wrote, "What I have left." Under the left column, he quickly wrote, "Job, income, savings, status, daily presence of my family, comfort." Then he moved to the right column. He stared at the blank white paper for a long time. The pen hovered. What did he have left? He was broke, lonely, and defeated. But as he sat there, the stranger's words returned to him, "You are empty. Let Him fill it." Slowly, deliberately, David wrote down his first entry on the right side, "My breath." He paused. He breathed in deeply, feeling his lungs expand, then exhaled. It was a simple thing, something he had taken for granted every second of his 52 years. It was a gift. He wrote down the next item, "My faith, even if it's as small as a mustard seed." Then, "A roof over my head, for now." Then, time. He realized that for his entire adult life, he had never had time. He had been a slave to the clock, a prisoner of schedules and deadlines. Now, he had nothing but time. This was the hidden lesson. He had no idea God was already working behind the scenes, using his lack to teach him true abundance. David dropped to his knees right there by the dining room table. This time, he didn't scream, and he didn't demand explanations. He bowed his head until his forehead touched the cold hardwood floor. "Lord," he whispered, his voice trembling but steady. "I confess that I have worshipped my job. I have worshipped my money. I have used my family as trophies to prove my own success. I have treated you like a servant rather than my master. I am sorry. I don't know how to fix any of this. I don't know how to pay my bills, and I don't know how to bring my family home. But I am tired of running in my own strength. I stop asking why you allowed this. Today, I ask, what do you want me to do?" The silence that followed was different. It was no longer the empty, terrifying silence of abandonment. It was the heavy, pregnant silence of a father listening to his child. In that quiet space, an impression came into David's mind, a memory from 20 years ago. Before he had entered the corporate world, before he had chased the dollar, David had loved working with his hands. He used to spend hours in his father's workshop, restoring old, broken wooden furniture. He loved taking something that was discarded, scarred, and useless, and peeling back the old paint to reveal the beautiful, valuable wood beneath. He had abandoned that passion when he took his corporate job because there was no real money in it. The thought persisted, go to the garage. David stood up, walked out to his detached garage, and switched on the dim overhead bulb. The space was filled with clutter. Old boxes, broken tools, and an antique oak dining table that he had bought at an estate sale 10 years ago, intending to restore it but never finding the time. The table was scratched, water-stained, and covered in dust. He walked over to it, running his hand along the rough wood. He felt a sudden, strange surge of energy. He found some old sandpaper and a hand plane in a drawer. He didn't have money for expensive electric tools or premium finishes, but he had his hands, he had his time, and he had a newfound desperation. He began to work. He sanded the rough, stained surface of the table. He worked for hours, his muscles aching, sweat dripping from his brow despite the winter cold. As he sanded away the layers of old, dark varnish, the beautiful, golden grain of the white oak began to emerge. As he worked on the table, David realized that I was working on him. The sandpaper was painful, stripping away his pride, his titles, and his false security. But beneath those superficial layers, something genuine was being revealed. He was discovering that his value didn't come from his corporate title, it came from the fact that he was my creation, designed with purpose and intent. This is where most people give up. When the sandpaper of life begins to rub against their pride, they flee back to their old habits, or they sink into a permanent state of bitterness. They refuse to let the old varnish be stripped away, and so they never see the beauty that lies beneath. David didn't give up. He worked until his hands were calloused and his back was sore. And for the first time in months, when he went to bed that night, he didn't stare at the ceiling in panic. He fell asleep immediately, his mind at peace, dreaming of wood grain and restoration. Chapter 6, The Transformation. Weeks turned into months. David's outer circumstances had not changed significantly, the bank was still sending warning letters, and Sarah was still living with her sister, but David's inner world was completely unrecognizable. He spent every day in the garage. He finished restoring the oak table, transforming it into a masterpiece of rustic beauty. He didn't have money to advertise it, so he took a few photos with his phone and posted them on a local online marketplace, asking for $300, hoping just to make enough to buy groceries and some heating oil. The table sold within 2 hours. A young couple came to pick it up, their eyes lighting up when they saw the craftsmanship. They gave him the cash, thanked him profusely, and asked if he had any other pieces available. With that $300, David didn't run out to buy luxury items. He paid his water bill, bought a few more pieces of sandpaper, and went to an estate sale where he bought 2 broken, discarded chairs for $10 each. He brought them home and began the process of restoration all over again. His life became simple, disciplined, and deeply spiritual. He began every morning at 5 a.m., not with coffee and panic, but with coffee and prayer. He would sit in his quiet living room, open his grandmother's Bible, and read with a hunger he had never experienced before. He wasn't looking for formulas to get rich, he was looking for intimacy with me. He learned to praise me in the middle of the lack. He would thank me for the bread on his table, even if it was just a simple sandwich. He would thank me for the strength in his arms, for the warmth of the sun through the garage window, and for the peace that now filled his heart. He began to reach out to his family, not with defensive arguments or financial promises, but with a new humility. He called Sarah once a week. He didn't beg her to come back, and he didn't complain about his struggles. He simply asked how she was doing. He listened to her fears, her hurts, and her anxieties without trying to fix them or defend himself. "I'm different now, Sarah," he said quietly during one call. "I can't explain it all, but I see how much I neglected you and the kids. I was so busy building a life that I forgot to love the people in it. I don't blame you for leaving. I just want you to know that I am praying for you every day." Sarah was silent on the other end of the line for a long moment. David could hear her breathing, soft and trembling. "I don't know what to say, David," she whispered. "You sound different." "I am," he said. The answer was closer than he imagined, but David was no longer rushing the timeline. He had learned the secret of the wilderness: contentment is not the absence of struggle, it is the presence of God within the struggle. He began to attend a small, local community church, sitting in the back row. He didn't wear his expensive corporate suits anymore. He wore flannel shirts and clean jeans. He didn't try to impress anyone. When the pastor asked for volunteers to help repair the roof of an elderly widow's house in the neighborhood, David was the first to raise his hand. He spent 3 Saturdays working alongside men he had never met, hammering nails in the freezing wind. He didn't care about his status or his comfort. He found joy in serving someone else who was hurting. In blessing another, his own wounds began to heal completely. His business, though small, began to grow through word of mouth. People in the area started hearing about the man in the suburb who could take any piece of ruined, broken furniture and turn it into art. Neighbors began bringing him their family heirlooms, old rocking chairs that had belonged to grandmothers, scratched desks from childhood, trusting him to restore them. He wasn't making corporate money, but he had enough to survive. He was learning the beauty of daily bread. He was learning that when you trust me completely, you never have to worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow is already in my hands. He had become a resilient vessel, tempered by fire, shaped by trial, and ready for the overflowing blessings that were about to be poured into his life. Chapter 7: The Blessing Arrives. It was a crisp morning in April. The snow had finally melted, and small green shoots of daffodils were pushing their way through the dark soil. David stood in his driveway, sweeping out the dust from his garage, when a large, luxury sedan pulled up to the curb. A well-dressed man in his early 60s stepped out of the vehicle. He looked around the modest neighborhood, then walked up the driveway toward David. "Are you David?" the man asked, his tone professional but curious. "Yes, I am," David said, setting his broom aside. "How can I help you?" "My name is Thomas Vance," the man said, offering his hand. "I'm the CEO of Vance Hospitality Group. We own a chain of boutique luxury hotels across the Midwest. Last month, my daughter purchased a restored oak dining table from you for her new home. I saw it last weekend during Sunday dinner." David nodded, remembering the young couple who had bought his first major piece. "Yes, I remember her. A very nice lady." Thomas Vance leaned against the frame of the garage, looking at the various pieces of furniture in various states of restoration. "David, I've been in business for 40 years, and I've seen a lot of craftsmanship. But that table, it had a soul. It wasn't just built, it was loved. We are currently renovating 3 of our historic hotels in Chicago, Indianapolis, and Columbus. We want to feature custom, authentic, restored American furniture in every lobby and executive suite. We need over 200 unique pieces over the next 18 months. David's heart stopped. 200 pieces. I've been looking for a master craftsman who understands the value of restoration, Vance continued, pulling a document from his leather briefcase. I want to offer you a corporate contract. We will provide you with a fully equipped warehouse space downtown, cover all your material costs, hire 3 assistants of your choosing to work under you, and pay you a retainer of $15,000 a month, plus a significant bonus upon completion of each hotel phase. David stared at the contract. The monthly retainer alone was more than he had made at his height in the logistics firm. It was enough to clear his medical debts, pay off his mortgage arrears, and secure his family's future for years to come. But what happened next shocked David even more. He didn't scream, he didn't jump for joy, and he didn't boast in his own fortune. Instead, tears welled up in his eyes, and he looked up at the sky. Thank you, he whispered. Thank you. He looked at Thomas Vance. Mr. Vance, I would be honored to take this contract. But I must tell you. I am not a master craftsman because of my own skill. I am a master craftsman because I know what it feels like to be broken, and I know the one who restores. Vance smiled, a knowing look in his eyes. I know, David. My daughter told me your story. That's exactly why I wanted you for this job. I don't want factory-made perfection. I want things that have been redeemed. 2 days later, David was working in his new warehouse, organizing his tools, when the large bay doors opened. The afternoon sun streamed into the building, casting long, golden beams across the concrete floor. A woman and 2 children stood in the doorway. It was Sarah, Leo, and his daughter, Emily. David dropped his wrench. He stood frozen as his children ran across the floor, throwing their arms around his waist. Dad! We missed you so much. Leo cried, squeezing him tight. David held them close, his tears flowing freely, burying his face in their hair. He looked up over their shoulders at Sarah. She was standing a few feet away, her eyes wet, a beautiful, tentative smile on her face. Can we come home, David? She asked softly. We don't care about the house, or the money, or the status. We just want the man we saw on the phone. We want you. David walked over, wrapping his strong, calloused arms around his wife, pulling her into his chest. You are home, Sarah, he whispered. We are all home. The breakthrough did not come because David figured out a brilliant strategy. It did not come because he manipulated circumstances or worked himself to the bone. It came because he surrendered. It came because he allowed me to dismantle his comfortable lie, prepare him in the wilderness, and reveal his true purpose. His marriage was restored, but it wasn't the old marriage, it was a new one, built on honesty, vulnerability, and a shared devotion to me. His finances were restored, but he no longer worshipped the money, he used it to bless others, to fund ministries, and to support the very food pantry that had fed him during his darkest months. David was finally rich, not just in his bank account, but in his soul. Chapter 8, God's Message to You. Now, my beloved child, let us transition from David's story to yours. I have brought you to this exact moment in this video for a reason. You have watched David's journey, his collapse, his questions, his encounter, and his ultimate restoration, because I wanted to show you a mirror of your own life. They lied to you about your struggle. The voices of this world, and the whispers of the enemy in your mind, have told you that the pain you are experiencing right now is proof that I have abandoned you. They told you that your financial hardship is a sign of failure, that your broken relationships can never be healed, and that the anxiety suffocating your chest is your permanent reality. They lied to you. Your current struggle is not your punishment, it is your preparation. I am using this season of lack, this season of loneliness, and this season of uncertainty to strip away the things that have been holding you back from your true destiny. You have been asking me to bless your comfort zone, but your comfort zone is too small for the massive blessing I want to pour into your life. I have to expand your capacity, and sometimes, expansion requires shaking. Look at your life right now. What are the crutches you have been leaning on? Have you been trusting in your bank account more than your provider? Have you been seeking the approval of people more than the approval of your Father? Have you been running on the treadmill of anxiety, trying to solve problems in your own strength that only I can fix? This is where most people give up. They get stuck in the anger of chapter 3. They cry out, "Why me?" and they turn away from me, hardening their hearts and becoming bitter. They live out the rest of their days in the ruins of their collapsed expectations, never realizing that the breakthrough was just around the corner. But you are not going to give up. You are watching this right now because there is a spirit of resilience inside you. You are a fighter, even if you feel completely exhausted right now. I want you to change your question today. Stop asking me why, and start asking me what. Ask me, Lord, what do you want me to learn in this wilderness? What pride do you want me to surrender? What hidden talent or passion have I buried that you want to restore? How can I serve someone else even while I am hurting? When you shift your perspective from victimhood to preparation, the enemy loses all power over your life. The financial stress will no longer cause you panic, because you will realize that I am your Jehovah Jireh, the Lord your provider, and I am simply clearing out the old storehouse to make room for the new harvest. The loneliness will no longer cause you depression, because you will realize that I have set you apart in a quiet place so that you can hear my still, small voice without distraction. The answer is closer than you imagine. I am already working behind the scenes of your life. I am already preparing the people who will bless you. I am already setting up the connections, the opportunities, the unexpected phone calls, and the divine strategies that will turn your situation around overnight. I can do more in 1 second of my favor than you can do in 50 years of your labor. But I need your heart. I need your full surrender. I don't want your Sunday morning performance. I want your kitchen floor vulnerability. Give me your broken pieces, just like David gave me that scratched, ruined oak table. Let me sand away the old varnish of your past mistakes, your shame, and your regrets. Let me reveal the beautiful, resilient creation that I designed you to be. Your blessing is not being withheld because I am angry with you. It is being timed perfectly so that when it arrives, it will not destroy you with pride, but it will elevate you with purpose. Listen to me. Before this week ends, I am going to show you a sign of my faithfulness. It may be a small sign, a sudden peace in your heart, an unexpected text of encouragement, or a small financial provision, but it will be a token to let you know that I am with you in the greenhouse. Trust the process. Lean into the preparation. Your chapter 7 is coming. Chapter 9, Powerful Prayer. If you are ready to receive this word, if you are ready to break the power of the lies and step into your season of restoration, I want you to join your heart with me right now. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let these words become your own prayer before my throne. Heavenly Father, Almighty God, the Creator of heaven and earth, the one who sees me, who knows my name, and who counts every tear that falls from my eyes. Lord, I come to you today just like David did. I come to you exhausted, weary, and empty. I confess that I have been overwhelmed by the storms of this life. I have looked at my bank account, my relationships, my health, and my future, and I have allowed fear, anxiety, and despair to take root in my heart. I have listened to the lies of the enemy that told me I am forgotten, that I am a failure, and that my story is over. Today, Lord, I reject those lies. I expose them to the light of your truth. I thank you that you are my provider, my healer, my restorer, and my comforter. I thank you that even when I cannot see you working, you are working. Even when I cannot feel your presence, you are holding me in the palm of your hand. Father, I pray right now for a financial breakthrough for the person watching this video. You know the exact number of the bills that are due. You know the weight of the debt that feels like a heavy chain around their neck. I ask that you open the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing that they do not have room enough to receive. Send unexpected provisions, open doors of employment that no man can shut, grant favor with clients, managers, and financial institutions. Give them divine wisdom to manage their resources, and transform their lack into an abundance so that they can be a blessing to others. Lord, I pray for family restoration. Where there has been division, anger, bitterness, and silence in marriages and between parents and children, I speak your peace. Break the walls of pride that keep loved ones apart. Soften the hearts that have been hardened by pain. Bring healing to broken relationships, and let love, vulnerability, and forgiveness flow through their homes like a river. Restore what the locusts have eaten, and make their families stronger, healthier, and more united than ever before. I pray for emotional and physical healing. For anyone struggling with the dark cloud of depression, the suffocating grip of anxiety, or the heavy weight of loneliness, I command those spirits to leave right now in the name of Jesus. Pour your Holy Spirit into their minds. Fill them with a peace that surpasses all human understanding. Give them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, and the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. Heal their physical bodies from sickness, chronic pain, and fatigue. Renew their strength like the eagles. Father, I pray for clarity of purpose. Help them to see that their current struggle is not a graveyard, but a greenhouse. Reveal the hidden lessons, the hidden talents, and the divine destiny that you have placed inside them. Help them to stop asking, why, and start asking, what. Guide their steps, align their connections, and grant them the courage to step into the new territory you are preparing for them. I decree and declare that before this week ends, breakthrough is coming into their life. Something hidden will be revealed, and the reservoir of your blessings will be unlocked. I surrender everything into your hands today, Lord. My finances, my family, my fears, and my future. I trust you. I love you. And I praise you in advance for the victory that is already on the way. In your holy and mighty name, we pray. Amen. My child, carry this peace with you. The lie is broken. Your blessing is on the way. Walk in confidence, knowing that the master craftsman is restoring your life piece by piece, and the final result will be more beautiful than you could ever imagine.